Happy Saturday, YouTube. I want to get on here and share with everybody the exact requirements necessary to join my network. And I wanted to do this mainly because, a lot of you guys reach out to me looking for campaigns, and I love it. Trust me, I love it. Especially right now as I'm scaling out our business and growing it. It's nice to see, a lot of centers reaching out for us for campaigns. But sometimes when I talk to you guys, some centers are shocked when they hear about the requirements that we need in order for you guys to come and work with us. So I wanted to share them with all of you so that way we're all on the same page. And, if it gives you the information you're looking for, then I'd rather do it here than, have to call you back or any of that. But here are the set of requirements. The first one is, you must be a registered call center in Pakistan, period. Second requirement is you got to be fully insured, a liability insurance that at least has $1 million or more to cover any litigation from TCPA or DNC. Now, in the event you don't have that liability insurance, then I would require a security deposit of $1,200 that I would hold on for 30 days or 60 days. Now, why 30 or 60? Well, if you're a smaller organization or maybe you're new to the call center space, then chances are I'm going to ask you for 60 days where we hold on to that security deposit. And in the event, in those first 60 days, any of the leads that you sent my team comes with a complaint, a demand letter, a lawsuit, then we would use that deposit to attempt to settle whatever that complaint or demand is. Sometimes it can be a letter from our legal team. Other times we got to respond a little bit more aggressively, and it costs money. That's $1,200. Now, if after 30 days or 60 days, and you're working well, and we don't have any issues, no complaints, no nightmares, then we release that back to you. And going forward, your center is under my umbrella, is under our partnership, and my liability insurance would extend to you because now you're a subcontractor of my company. And that right there, in the event of human error or any of that, then we would just pay the deductible to the insurance company, and they would step in and handle any lawyer fees, settlement costs, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Once again, all designed to protect our clients. That's the name of the game. Third, we do require our agreement in writing. And that costs $250. That's paid directly to my barrister in Rawalpindi, Islamabad, Asim. And unfortunately, this is a funny part, but a lot of centers, when it's come to this part, they shy away. They don't do it. They don't want to do it. Well, if we can't get an agreement in writing, I have zero interest of doing business with your center. Because most of the times, these centers, they're either one invoice away from being out of business or one complaint away from being out of business. And we want to work with centers that are in it to win it and in it for the long run. And what better way than to have our agreement, our understanding in writing, so that way we don't have any issues. Most of the times when you see these people fighting online and they're bitter, it's because either A, they had no agreements in order, or two, they had agreements but they didn't stick to those agreements, so they do those troll tactics. And then the third reason is training. In order for you to come and work here with me, we got to retrain you and your whole staff. Unfortunately, sometimes when I bring on new centers, they don't take this literal because they rely on the fact that they have a staff that's supposedly trained in final expense, but all they're doing is just your regular generic transfer script They deflect objections. They don't know how to answer objections, and they coach calls, and the quality of those leads are garbage. And how do I know this? Because we're in this business. A lot of those scripts, we helped design them over the last decade. But with that, we got to innovate, and we got to adjust the way we approach people on the phone, because more than ever right now, there's a major saturation rate on the phone. Everyone's making phone calls. So if you're calling and you sound like the regular Joe Schmo that just called him earlier in the day, you're going to get the same response. So you got to be able to sound different than everybody else on the phones. And I have a strategy right now that my agents love it because they're closing more deals, their talk times are higher, and my call center staff loves it because they're able to build more leads that make it past the buffer. And the complaints from clients have reduced tremendously. And that's the name of the game. It's making sure that you have a call center entity, have liability insurance, or you can put up a deposit and be able to retrain your whole staff. And now that could be a problem because sometimes guys don't want to train their staff because of the cost factor. Well, if you don't come in it with the mentality that I want to help train your staff all over again, I'm not interested. I'm not, because I value my clients way too much to put some amateur on the phones only to cost me a client. I'm not going to do that. So those are the basic requirements that I do require. And one more, actually, compliance. DNC and TCPA compliance. You must have a complete understanding of how those two laws work. Unfortunately, a lot of centers, they don't have idea of how it works. Look, I do quality control for my group every week, and I randomly check at each one of our centers. And right now, we're sending over 10,000 calls a day, raw calls and final expense and Medicare, from all types of data points. And when I go and I look at these numbers, I see that there's a major amount of DNC, meaning that there's a lot of people, over 50% of Americans, have their phone number on the DNC. So imagine if you don't have a valid opt-in and you're calling on numbers that are on the DNC, you're going to get rocked by violation and fines. And that happens every single day. I know a friend of mine that settled a $15,000 DNC violation. That was settled, $15,000, and he almost was out of business because he didn't have the $15,000. Luckily, his client stepped in and covered the cost. But once again, that's not, you don't have a lot of clients that would step in and pay that. So the liability and the risk of that is really, really high. So we cover compliance. You must understand it. And if you don't, again, we can level you up. We can show you what we know. We can share with you our opinion on what the law means and how it is interpreted in our opinion. And I'm happy to say this, knock on wood, that, since 2015, when we really got involved with the call center business, we've taken on maybe 8 potential lawsuits, and each one of those lawsuits we were settled in our favor. So we have a complete understanding of how to settle those and how to handle them. But more importantly, we must do it right from the beginning. So again, I'm currently onboarding centers for final expense, uncapped right now. And if this is something that you can meet me on, please reach out to me. All right. I hope this video helps you, and hopefully we can put a deal together. Peace.